Most people don't give the importance of sound economics the proper credence to the way in which humanity progresses. Behind all the important events of history is found important economic turning points. And we are at such a point in history right now. Unlike physics, we still imprison people for economic heresy. Back in 1930, Nikolai Kondratyev was imprisoned in Russia for his large cycle beliefs, and later he was retried on his crimes and then executed by firing squad. He simply observed the same cycles later refined by Martin Armstrong, who was just recently released from prison after 11 years, one of the longest people ever imprisoned for contempt of court. He was tortured in prison. He was allowed to be beaten nearly to death by placing a homicidal inmate in his cell, then refusing to stop the beating until the guards thought he was dead. That happened right in modern-day America. And there is no doubt that he was held to silence his beliefs, as his ideology represented a threat to the powers that control the production of money and markets. Now, those are some serious barriers to the progression of knowledge. We are all living a big lie economically and have done so our entire lives, not knowing what exists outside the box presented to us. In the year 1913, the Federal Reserve Act gave the power to control the production of money to the Federal Reserve Banks, which are not federal, they possess no reserves, and they are nowhere close to being a bank. What they are is private corporations owned by private banks who in turn are owned by private individuals. This is not only an outright lie in name, but it is clearly a conflict of self-interest. Giving a few private individuals the right to control the production of money inevitably leads them to producing money and using it to buy the political system they desire, one, of course, which benefits them. Their benefit is at the expense of others. The further away from the production of money you are, the more it damages you. There is a natural way of being in regards to money. Money is simply an agreed medium of exchange. Its production should never benefit individuals. It can absolutely be created and controlled in such a way that its production benefits everyone equally. There is no need, for example, for a nation to have a national debt. A sovereign nation can simply produce money and spend it into existence instead of borrowing it into being, as we do now. Take a look at the money in your wallet. You see that it says Federal Reserve Note on top. The term note means nothing but debt. That debt carries interest paid mostly to the private banks who hold the majority of the nation's debt. That debt is their power base. They wield their power to control the government, to control the markets, to control the media, to control the defense industry, to control the medical industry, the nuclear industry, the higher institutions of learning, and on and on. The production of money is all about control. Those who produce it are in control. Those who do not are not. If you covet a truly representative government, one that represents you, then you must work to return the money creation to the power as is meant to be the case and has been the case before in the United States of America. So we've been living a central banking lie that has placed us all into a false paradigm, a box with walls that are false. Within that box is found impossible math. There is simply no way that incomes can ever come close to servicing all that debt. It cannot happen. All that has happened is that it has led to macroeconomic debt saturation, which I can prove has occurred in about 5 different ways. A fundamental false belief economically is to compartmentalize all the debts. When applying for a car loan, for example, the bank will look at your percentage debt levels and compare them to your income. But you're not only responsible for your own personal debt, you are responsible for your town's debts, your county's debts, your state's debts, your nation's debts. as well as your share of the corporate debt. It amounts to well over $300,000 per person, or $1.2 million for every family of four, conservatively. And reality is probably much worse than that. Compare that amount to the average income, and it quickly becomes clear that the math is indeed impossible. Once debt saturation occurs, then stimulating the economy with more debt money only works to drag the economy down and to create higher unemployment. This build-up of debt must be cleared in order for the economy to create real productive growth. Unfortunately, the mass of debt has gone exponential. Yet another fact that is ignored, leading to still more false beliefs. But the debt cannot be cleared when the political system is controlled by those who produce the debt and got you into this situation to begin with. And this highlights the fact that allowing private individuals to control the production of money goes against the very nature of nature. Math is a part of nature after all. It just is, and there are limits imposed by it. The impossible math that has taken root around the world is entangling all who get near it. This same type of twisted self-interest is happening all over the fields of medicine, food production, what we formerly thought of as free markets, the military-industrial complex, and really all facets of modern-day life. We are living in a central banker-backed special interest box. This box is not good for society. It creates all sorts of false economic beliefs. It's much closer to voodoo than it is to science, because keeping humanity in the dark is profitable to those controlling the population. There are no solutions to the impossible math that work as long as we continue to live inside their false box. Tear down the walls to their box, however, and true solutions are immediately clear. So you see, economics is rooted in and intertwined with science. There is a natural order to the universe with real boundaries that cannot be exceeded. The proper foundation to a well-functioning economy is found in a rule of law that keeps itself well-centered within the natural limits imposed on it. From that proper rule of law, the next step is to form a monetary system that benefits everyone equally. Then you can begin to develop human and natural resources to create jobs, wealth, and prosperity. That wealth pyramid exists within and is surrounded by nature. But before a proper rule of law is established, empathy and communication must exist. Any and all relationships exist because people first communicate with one another and because all parties involved feel that being in the relationship is beneficial. There's that self-interest again. It's like a good marriage. When you're in one, you know it. You recognize that you are better off as a team, not just as an individual. And like all good things, it is self-perpetuating when both parties feel good about themselves and their relationships. But when you're in a bad relationship, you riot. And just look at the world today. Right now, people are not feeling good about their relationship with their money. They're finally beginning to get focused on the root of the money problem. Who it is that controls its production, the central banks. This is why we are seeing the current set of Occupy Wall Street riots. Note that each set of riots is getting closer to the root of who controls the production of money. And so the money and political environment is about to change. But unless we smash a few false assumptions, what we wind up with may not be a whole lot better than what we have now.